Welcome to our video series on advanced features in Windows XP. In this video, we'll look at customizing the Files and Folders interface. In this video, I'm going to talk you through how to customize the interface when dealing with files and folders in Windows. When I say the interface, if we go to My Computer here, this is the interface, and as you start working with files and folders, you might become quite familiar with it. And even though things may look a bit different from time to time, and I'll explain why in a moment, most of the elements on the screen will remain consistent. For example, this is how My Computer looks, and you have the menu at the top, and you have a toolbar. The address bar tells you where you are on your computer, and you have some useful tasks here, or places to go if you want to make use of those. And then here, it breaks down parts of your computer. For example, files stored on this computer, hard disk drives, devices with removable storage, and so on. And then there's the status bar on the bottom. If I change the size of that, and actually what I'll do is I'll minimize it for now, and okay, there's a folder here on the desktop. If I double-click the folder, and okay, I've added some content to the folder. So now, let's bring these both up together. Then My Computer, and then the folder navigation window. You see that they look very similar. It's basically the same functionality they're offering you, so they look very similar. So whenever you come across this screen, it's highly customizable, and that's what I'm going to talk you through here. And it's pretty standard Windows customization options. For example, if we go to the View menu, you can choose which toolbars display. You can turn off standard buttons, for example. You can turn off the address bar if you wish. And we can bring those back. I would suggest having the standard buttons and the address bar showing because those are very useful. You can also go to View menu and select how the file and folder information is presented. There's Thumbnail View, which looks like that. Tiles View. Icons View. List View, which is really like Icons View but with much smaller icons. And Details View. Details View is actually a very useful view, and I'll talk through that in the next video. Let's go back to Icons View. And these view options are also available here through the Views button on the toolbar. Among other options in the View menu, you can arrange icons, and this is very similar to how you can customize the desktop. You can arrange icons by name, size, type, and so on, even auto-arrange. And then there are some other further options available through the toolbar. I won't go into too much detail on these now because they'll be covered further in later videos. For example, there's a search feature, which is useful because it allows you to search your computer when you can't find the exact files and folders you were looking for. Click that to get rid of it. And there's also a Folders button, and I won't talk you through too much detail on this either, because this really turns the navigation window into what's known as Windows Explorer, which is a slightly more complex way of navigating through your computer because it presents this tree structure on the left, and then you can see the contents of each folder on the right, so it's slightly more involved and will be covered more later. So let's turn that off by clicking Folders again. Okay, so those are some of the customizable elements in the folder navigation window. Lastly, something important that I should talk about, and you may find that with different folders, automatically there are different views. You'll find, for example, that some folders have a list view by default, and with other folders, you may find that they have icons view by default, and this is just the way that Windows is by default. And when you're in a folder and you change the view, Windows generally remembers that view for the next time you visit that folder. For example, I prefer to work in Details view because I find it the most helpful, and I find it somewhat frustrating to change the view for every single folder I visit. So you can actually set things up so you have a default view for all your folders. If you Tools and Folder Options, and there are some options here. For example, Show Common Tasks in Folders, and so on, and Browse Folders. You may want to play around with some of these. Open each folder in the same window, or open each folder in its own window. For example, if we choose that, and OK that, and now if I double-click the subfolder, and let me resize this window, and you see that it reopened in a new window. I prefer to navigate through folders keeping it in the same window, because otherwise, then every time you click on a folder, you get a different window, then a different window, and I think the screen becomes quite cluttered. And you see that even between these two folders, the view is different. So I'll be showing you in just a moment how to change that. So generally, in Tools, Folder Options, I generally stick with Open each folder in the same window. And OK, there are other options you can change, and in the View tab, and also in the File Types tab. There are more advanced options that I won't really talk you through here. As you can see, you can really customize an awful lot about the look and feel of the folder navigation window. But what you might find particularly useful is this: folder views apply to all folders. And let me do that now. So let me cancel. And OK, let's change this to Icons view. Now Tools, Folder Options, View tab. And you can choose then that you apply this view to all folders. Set all the folders on your computer to match the current folder's view settings. Changes will occur the next time you open them. Yes, and OK, that's happening. And it's done. OK that. So now, OK, I need to close this window. And OK, I still have my computer open. Let's close that. So now let's go back into the folder, and by default it should be the Icons view, which is what I chose. And now if we go into a subfolder, it's also the Icons view. And into this subfolder. And OK, there's nothing to see here, but if I were to create something quickly, new text document, let's say, and just leave it by default, and you can see that by default is the Icons view. So by going to Tools and Folder Options and the View tab and Apply to all folders, you can apply the current view to all folders, so you have a consistent interface, which I find really helpful. Okay, it appears I didn't save or OK the change, because you see every time I opened all these folders, they've opened in a separate window. You see that I now have 3 separate windows open for 3 different folders, which I find quite a clumsy way to navigate through Windows, because you could wind up with dozens of windows open, and I don't find that the best way to work. So Tools, Folder Options, open each folder in the same window, and OK that. So now, if I close this window, let's right-click and close. Close this window, right-click and close, And okay, we're back to the original folder. And now, if I double-click, you see that it stays within the same window, which I find is a better way to navigate. I still have just one window open, and if I minimize that, it's gone. And if I click here to bring it back up, there it is. And double-click again into this subfolder, and we're still in the same window. So that's how you can make changes to how the navigation window looks and feels, and I find it very beneficial. And you know, once you've customized things the way you like and applied all those settings to all navigation windows, it just makes navigating through Windows and your files and folders easier. And you know you can customize it so you're working with the interface in a way that is the most comfortable and productive for you.